One of the more culturally significant villains in the comic book genre are the Sentinels from the X-Men. They represent an extreme negative reaction and misunderstanding targeted at a minority. Essentially, Sentinels are hate crimes forged by prejudice and fueled by fear, with the end goal of complete genocide. They may be a work of fiction and highly exaggerated, they're giant killer robots for crying out loud, but they are grounded in reality. We've seen horrifying acts like this before throughout human history, human beings attempting to eliminate or oppress other members of their own species simply because they don't share the same beliefs, values, are part of a different culture or race, or live a different lifestyle. It can also be because they believe the actions of some reflect the actions of all. Look at the misuse of the words terrorist and terrorism, for example. The Sentinels encompass and embody all these terrible human behaviors. They're built from pure hate. The Sentinels debuted for Marvel Comics in X-Men number 14 from November of 1965, designed by Bolivar Trask, a man who viewed mutants as mankind's deadliest enemy and believed they were plotting to take over and make humans their slaves. Sentinels were created for the sole purpose of hunting down and either killing or capturing mutant prey. In their first appearance, Trask would arrange for a demonstration showing off his Sentinels, only for them to go rogue, kidnap him, and seek to create their own army. Beast, Iceman, and Cyclops battle a few of the robots and realize they can counter some of the abilities mutants use against them, with Iceman getting hit by a heat ray. However, the remaining Sentinel deactivates and falls over before uttering the words, "Master Mold." It is revealed in the following issue that the Master Mold is a giant Sentinel who has the power to create more of them and needs the knowledge Trask possesses so he can accomplish it. Beast gets captured by the Sentinels and Professor X attempts to probe the mind of Master Mold, only for it to learn of his presence and attack him instead. Upset that his technological creations have turned against him, and after multiplying their numbers, will almost certainly take over the human race, Bolivar Trask sacrifices himself by destroying the machine that is creating more. It results in an explosion that destroys the facility. Trask intended to wipe out every mutant on the face of the earth with his Sentinels because he viewed mutants as a threat, but ironically, he manufactured a much larger one that could have potentially eliminated or at the very least enslaved the entire human race, the very thing he envisioned mutants would do. The Sentinels would return in X-Men number 57, this time being controlled by Bolivar's son, Larry Trask. What made this interesting was the fact that Larry was a mutant himself, able to predict and see into the future, though his powers had been suppressed by his father. Larry deemed mutants dangerous, or at least some of them, and blamed the X-Men for his father's death. He helped create a stronger wave of Sentinels, Mark II, that were able to counter mutant abilities almost instantly, like with Iceman's powers for example. The Mark III Sentinels debuted in issue number 98, secretly financed by the Council of the Chosen, later revealed to be the Hellfire Club, so things were getting even more complicated with the existence and usage of these weapons, the Sentinels. It was no longer simply black and white. At first, Sentinels were designed by humans to kill mutants, their quote-unquote enemy. Now they were being used by mutants to kill other mutants if need be, used by the humans' enemy to kill their enemies. That's like if someone were to design some sort of weapon which fell into the hands of their opponent, threatening not only the ones who created it, but anyone else who could be viewed as an enemy to that individual, so why make it in the first place? Well, that's what humans do in a nutshell. We don't think that far ahead. Anyways, other notable Sentinels over the years include a tri-headed Sentinel that debuted in The Amazing Spider-Man number 329, Nimrod, a prototype Super Sentinel, Bastion, a fusion of Master Mold and Nimrod from an alternate future, Prime Sentinels, which are humans equipped with nanotechnology created by Bastion, and the Stark Sentinels, which were created by Tony Stark to counter the abilities of certain Marvel heroes after the events of Civil War, which brought along their own set of problems. Sentinels house a wide variety of weaponry at their disposal in order to effectively capture and/or kill their mutant targets. They possess missile launchers, flamethrowers, restraining devices, can fire energy blasts from their hands or gases that can incapacitate their foes, they can fly, detect mutants from long range and determine their weaknesses, and even counter their abilities if need be. Because of their grounded concept, I find the Sentinels to be a very terrifying idea. Anyone with enough time, hatred, and resources such as Bolivar Trask could make something like this a reality to take out a group of individuals they detest. Like I've said, we've seen insane lengths taken before by people like him in history, and still do. It isn't that much of a stretch. Every civil right you have has been established because someone else fought for it. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that the Sentinels represent an extreme negative reaction towards a minority, and that couldn't be more accurate. They represent a misunderstanding and a refusal of knowledge and acceptance by the one perpetrating the heinous actions of sending these attack dogs out to destroy their enemy. Every conflict, every weapon, every act of attempted genocide in human history has been the result of misguidance, misunderstanding. Even ones acted on through sheer revenge have resulted in unnecessary casualties on both sides. When a single thought or mentality fuels a person, they are capable of doing anything, no matter how unforgiving and cruel. Problem is, much like Bolivar Trask, their actions can have consequences and blow up in their face, which we have seen time and time again throughout history. The Sentinels were made to eliminate mutants, but the technology became sentient and fell into the wrong hands, causing the barrel of that gun to be pointed at both sides. When we create any type of weapon, we should expect that to happen. They're impossible to control. It's in their very nature to spread, evolve, and cause harm. Essentially, you've created a monster, a poison that will never go away.